Only a few weeks left until the beginning of a new dynasty. Ant-Man is going to be hopping into the theaters everywhere realm before long, and it'll be a doozy. Paul Rudd has been teasing the fact that, even after everything in the Infinity Saga, Kang will be his greatest challenge yet. According to Rudd, the matchup between Ant-Man and Kang is going to be super unfair. While the Ant family has dealt with their fair share of villains, none of them were even close to being Avengers-level threats. Sure, Scott helped solve the Thanos conundrum with his wacky idea of a time heist. And he, along with Hope, helped defeat Thanos and his armies in the final battle. But they weren't alone, were they? It's one thing to face an Avengers-level baddie alongside the Avengers. Doing that without the Avengers on your side, that's a whole new ball game. Paul calls Kang a formidable foe and points out that Scott has never faced anyone like this. He implies that we shouldn't take it for granted that Scott will even succeed, but he hopes that the audience will be on his side no matter the outcome of the movie. I think it's safe to say that we are, indeed, rooting for Ant-Man to win. He's the good guy, after all. That being said, there are definitely shots in the trailers that show Ant-Man struggling to fight Kang. Many of the promos for the movie include a scene where Scott points out that he doesn't need to win, as long as Kang loses. That's a bad sign for Scott, but what does Jonathan Majors think about Kang's chances against Ant-Man? You probably won't be surprised to know that he isn't a gracious opponent. Majors describes his character as hyper-intelligent, calling his big brain one of Kang's superpowers. He's capable of outsmarting the smartest people in the MCU. Those smarts have made Kang realize that it's him against the world, and he has a keen understanding of the stakes. He also has no time for fools, and that's why it's interesting that he's going up against Ant-Man. Jonathan Majors doesn't think Ant-Man is a fool, but Kang certainly does. And while Kang himself has a sense of humor, he doesn't joke around, and he won't have patience for Scott's frivolity. That could be a problem, as Kang is asking Scott for some kind of favor. Majors also clarifies that there's a world of difference between He Who Remains, the variant from Loki, and the Kang we'll see in Quantumania. It's interesting that, in comparing Scott to Kang, Majors focuses so much on the sense of humor and intelligence. It's worth remembering that Scott is a pretty smart guy too. Not in the way Hank Pym is smart, of course, but he wasn't the craftiest thief in the world for no reason. Majors might be trying to tell us that as much as Quantumania will see these two punching each other in the face, it'll also be a contest of wits. Even there, as you can see, Kang might be the strongest foe he's ever faced. But, you know, I kind of feel like Paul is selling himself short here. Kang may be strong, but so is Ant-Man. It's hard to underestimate a guy who can change his size. We've seen in the trailers for this very movie that Scott will be going giant mode to smash things up. While Ghost wasn't a villain to be overlooked, it's true that Scott hasn't had to face the most deadly characters in his own movies. When it comes to appearances outside of the ones named after him, he's shown a pretty remarkable ability to fight some tough customers. His first crossover appearance in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was in Captain America: Civil War. There, Steve Rogers brought him in to fight his old mate, Tony Stark, at the airport. Considering that, in this scene, the easily underestimated Ant-Man was fighting against the likes of Iron Man, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Vision, those are some of the strongest heroes in the MCU. Now, Paul dismissed Scott's performance against Thanos by saying that he was fighting with the Avengers, which is true, but also unfair to himself. In that scene, he also saved some of the heroes from the wreckage of the Avengers compound, and he punched one of Thanos' spaceship thingies right out of the sky. You can't call Ant-Man an insignificant part of that battle. Would the Avengers have won without him? I'll have to get Strange on the phone and ask about everything he saw in the 14 million timelines. And it isn't just Scott being underestimated. I think we might be overestimating Kang a bit. If we're just talking about raw strength, that was something Thanos was known for. And it helped, of course, that the guy was rocking a cool yellow glove with some sick gems on it. But Kang isn't really a brute force type of villain. We don't know what his capabilities will be in Quantumania, but comic book Kang really is best known for his smarts. The guy knows how to hold his own in a fight, and he's probably got some quantum tech at his disposal. He also wears a suit that gives him enhanced speed, strength, and durability, and the ability to create force fields. But there's nothing about Kang that would stop a mega-sized Ant-Man from just crushing him under his heel. The fact that Scott was in a position to make short work of Thanos means that he is more than capable of quantum pulverizing Kang. Kang would really have to use his intelligence and outsmart Scott to beat him. Now, when comparing the two of them against each other in this way, we can't overlook the fact that, apparently, Kang has killed Ant-Man before. So, while we're arguing in favor of Scott a bit, even experience is on Kang's side. Come to think of it, we've been talking about the idea of a one-on-one punch-up between Scott and Kang. It's safe to say, though, that isn't how the fight is going to play out. The fact that Kang lives in the quantum realm, and thus out of the normal flow of time, is gonna give him a significant edge over Scott. First off, he has the home field advantage. We see in the trailer that the quantum realm is a living and breathing society based on the microverse from the comics. Kang seems to be well established in the quantum realm, and he knows how everything works down there. More important, though, will be Kang's control over time. It's hard to say how much power he has over time itself now, but he does offer Scott time that he could spend with Cassie. That means that Kang has some level of control over Scott's fate, just by manipulating time itself. This is what makes Kang such a different beast compared to Thanos. Sure, the cool yellow glove gave Thanos control of time via the Time Stone, as Wanda found out, but even the Time Stone's powers seem limited compared to what Kang can do. There's a reason why, in the trailer, Scott seems to be talking about mutually assured defeat rather than beating Kang. Somehow, Scott is incapable of beating Kang outright, so his best bet is to make sure neither side gets what they want.
Yeah, and we have a lot to do before then. My Pep always said, if you want to do something right, you make a list. So we should do that. 1, we have to break into that lab. 2, we have to kick out Foster and Ghost. 3,
we're so close to the release, and the unanswered questions are driving me crazy. This really is going to be a massive MCU event. Now, I want to know what you guys think. How are things going to play out between Ant-Man and Kang? See you next time with more amazing content.